Hello, and welcome to Tales from the Twists, the podcast where we recap your childhood. My name's Joseph Lewis, and as always, I'm joined by the very charming Anthony Bull. How are you, Anthony?
Oh, hey, Joe. Oh, thank you for saying such lovely things about me.
I thought I'd add some adjectives in this time, because usually I just say Anthony Bull. So I'd say,
It's very nice of you.
Isn't that professional?
That's
to compliment your co-host?
It's incredibly professional. But if I was a woman, probably wouldn't want to do that.
Why?
We'd have to all go to some sort of sensitivity training course.
Why, you can't call a woman charming?
I don't know. She might not like it. You don't know, right? Just
Just
don't do it.
What if you called me charming and I didn't appreciate being called charming? That's still sexual harassment as well, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's not determinant of my gender, of birth or current.
So. Well, I guess we can't call each other charming anymore, right?
Alright, let's just say
I'll let it slide this one time, Joseph.
Let's just call each other disgusting.
Yeah, we're disgusting. That won't offend anybody.
I'm just joined here today by my very disgusting co-host, Anthony Bull. And we are joined to talk about Season 3, Episode 7 of Round the Twist on our podcast called Tales from the Twists. And this episode is called Malibu. Maliboo. It's obviously a joke.
Yep.
Malibu being, the place in America, also apparently a surfboard brand.
Yep.
And Malibu, as in Mali, and then boo, as in I'm being scared by a ghost.
I thought it was also boo as in like you suck.
Oh.
Because like Pete sucks.
Well, it could also be that as well. Triple layered.
Yeah, wow, it's pretty good then, I guess. It's not a bad title.
We've definitely had worse.
Yes.
So let's dive straight into the episode. We start off at the beginning of an episode of Around the Twist with a teaser, and it usually tells us a little bit about what's in the episode, what's to come, gives us an idea of stuff that's happening, and a little bit different this week.
It's the first time it wasn't, it went straight into the show.
Yeah, so we start off with, it's kind of an 80s surf comp, and Pete's won, and there's photography, there's people taking photos. Oh yeah, you've done so great. He kisses Fiona, everyone's having a great time. And then it transitions, we see the title, and it transitions into Pete waking up, because he's in the middle of an exam. What did you think of this?
I thought it was okay. I mean, I didn't mind that. You kind of knew it was a dream because it was shot...
Like
it
a
was
dream?
shot. Yeah, it was like, had a retro feel to it, and it was like, had like this fisheye sort of lens look about it, so you knew it wasn't real life or anything. So it felt like a dream. And then it went straight into the episode, and I thought, oh, this will just be the teaser. That'll be fine.
Yep.
But no, it goes straight into the episode. It's actually important.
I like this. I like using the teaser as part of the episode as a storytelling convention. It's nice. It's short. It gets us straight into the action instead of giving us an abstract idea of what's going to happen.
Yeah, I like that.
I think a lot of the time the teaser is wasted real estate in these episodes, and whoever wrote this episode...
Or it's a teaser that no one will get until...
Yeah, until you've seen the episode.
So, recall back to one of the earlier seasons.
Are you talking about Gribble and it coming out of the side of Pete's neck?
The episode with Scarecrow.
Yes.
And it's got the clown who's got his sad clown with, and it's got like a hamster on his, or guinea pig on top of his hat. And that, you don't find that out until the end of the episode that he's got it tucked up there.
Yep.
So it wouldn't make sense unless you've seen the episode before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job. Some nice...
Throwbacks.
Some nice
recalls.
Recalls, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
We do start off the episode, and Pete's in exam, and he's daydreaming. And he's only got 20 seconds remaining. Snapper's saying, there's 20 seconds left. And Pete's frantic. He's like, oh no, I gotta finish my exam. We cut sideways to Bronson, and he's also in an exam. He's trying to finish as fast as he can.
Yeah.
He's running out of time as well. And we find out here that Faye's still a teacher at the school.
Yeah.
And right now, I'm going to call across to some feedback we've got from listeners. We get feedback every week from listeners on the Chicken Twisties Facebook page, which you can join to and have your feedback read out on the show. But they give us a little bit of feedback, their ideas, thoughts, theories about the episode, and we discuss it as part of this podcast, collaborative experience. And we call it Regan's or Pontillo's Pontifications, because of the man that started it all. So this week we have Pontifications from Regan and a new listener, Liam Spencer.
Yeah.
Who's joined us in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
And he's been quite active with his feedback.
He's been binging our show, and it's been pretty cool. It's really cool. It shows, too, in the content. Because it's like, hey, I did reference that in the episode. Hey, I remember saying something like that.
Yeah.
It's a long time ago, It's like, it's cool.
Our first bit of feedback from Regan is, we've established here that Faye is still a teacher at the school, so the work she does for the CFA is more likely a side commitment. So the CFA is the Community Firefighting Association, I imagine, that Faye, we thought, was her full-time job.
Yeah. So I'm assuming it's volunteer work she does then.
Yeah.
Or at least maybe it's like vacation, volunteer/vacation sort of thing. Maybe that has like some sort of Army Reserve style thing.
Maybe.
Like you only have to go in for once a month, but then you have to go in for like on the vacations or a couple of weeks a year.
Chocolate firefighters.
Yeah, chocolate firefighters, yeah.
Yeah.
What I want to point out is in
What?
Bronson's exam, I wanted to check and see what answers he was giving.
Yep.
And it's like, he got it all right. That we find out later. One of the questions was, what is 2 plus 3?
Okay.
How old is Bronson?
7.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it's a fair question to ask a 7-year-old then.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I was like, come on. But really? How old's Pete then?
Pete's about 13. I think we get it in the Viking episode of Pete and Linda are 13.
They're similar age.
Yes. Well, they're twins.
Yeah,
that's
that's
true.
true. They are the same age, yeah.
Bronson's trying to finish his exam. It's multiple choice, and he just starts ticking around in boxes. And Liam Spencer, who, by the way, is procrastinating from a uni assignment, as we all did when we were all in uni.
Of course.
Procrastinate all the time. And he said that assuming the last 15 questions, which are the ones that Bronson guesses, they were multi-choice, with 4 options each. The odds of him correctly guessing them all is 1 in 1,073,741,824.
That would
to 1.
Or
did I say that already? 1
I don't know. That's true, but then there's also, you need to consider that...
Yes.
Do people who make the tests, is there a natural... I know that naturally...
C?
No, yeah, it's like this... Is there a natural tendency to place the correct answer within a certain category? Sort of like... it's exactly the same thing about, like, going to the toilet. Alright? There's 4 toilets. The first one's always missed, statistically. The fourth one is always missed. This was an episode of Mythbusters. They even did this.
Okay.
The first one was barely used. The fourth one was barely used. But the second and third one were used the most for some reason. It just seemed to be that's the way the data spread itself.
Well, you don't want to be closest to the door. You also don't want to be furthest away from the door because it takes longer to get out.
But you also assume that someone's used the first one because it's the closest.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't use that one, you use the second one.
Yeah.
And if the second one's busy, you go to the third one. But the fourth one's too far away and you think it's not very good.
Yeah.
Because it's the fourth one. It's the last. You never want to get the last. So you want the middle.
I think when I go to the toilet, I walk in, I don't look at you kind of look at the first one, but you're scanning down. So as you're walking, you're kind of scanning. So by the time that you realise that the first one is open, you just go into the second one. Because it's probably open too. Or the third one if that's open.
Because I've always wondered this too when I was studying for exams. It was like, is it better, if you're not 100% sure of the stuff you're studying for, and you don't have a lot of time, is it better to focus on the large questions?
Yeah.
Right? Which I think usually it is. The ones with a lot of value in them. Trying to research the general topics. And then just guess all the multiple choice. Because statistically you have a 1 in 4 chance. But if you can get all those ending questions correct, you're usually going to end up with around about 35%, 40% on your final exam.
Okay.
And if that happens, if you're sitting on anywhere of a passing grade, like most uni students, you will definitely, most uni students go into their final exam with a passing grade. Or, like, not a passing grade, but like sitting on close to a passing grade. They can fail their final exam and they'll still pass.
Sure.
Yeah. Should you do that, or should you focus on trying to study at all? Is there a good strategy, is what I've always wondered. But then I realized, hang on, I'm in uni, and I should be studying for an exam.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I don't have time to calculate that. I'll do that later.
I spent an enormous amount of time in uni working out the percentage I would need on a certain assignment to get a certain grade.
They actually have a website for that now. It's cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like it's got your course code and everything.
Yeah.
You put it in, and it says how much you need left on your exam or your assignment. Yeah, because it's got all the courses in it. It's great.
Cool. Sounds pretty good. Wish that was available when I was slogging it out at uni.
Yeah, well,
trying to avoid that fail.
That's true. You don't want to get that fail.
So I think at least once,
can I just say,
I auto-failed a piece of assignment.
If you are a uni lecturer, and you make the release of really important marks that are more than 50% after the census date, you're an asshole. Like, this happened once. There was a 70% exam, middle of the semester. They didn't get the results back until after the census date, when you can't drop without incurring a penalty. And it's like, so many people failed. It's like, well, they've failed the entire course now. And there's nothing they can do about that.
Which census date? Academic or financial?
I think the academic one.
Yeah.
The financial one, it's like, you're dropping that one because you're not interested in the course.
The financial one's pretty early.
Yeah, that's pretty early, but the academic one's like in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pete, he frantically tries to finish his paper as Snapper's collecting them, and he doesn't get it quite finished. And Snapper collects it, and he says, "Happy holidays! It's time for a break." And the twists all leave the school. There's thousands of people leaving the school, because apparently Port Noranda State School is the biggest school in Australia.
Yeah, and not in Bigville, though.
And not in Bigville.
No.
Which apparently has a bigger school. They would have a school of like 20,000 students.
And Gribble would be trying to shut down Port Noranda School.
Yeah, so get all that state government. No, they'd want the funding for the town.
Why?
It brings people, brings finances.
Yeah, but Gribble would
Do you think
like
he just wants to bring condos?
Well,
there?
where do you think he's going to put his casino? In an old school is fine.
You need...
Get rid of
the word.
I don't know. You get rid of all the kids and you turn it into an entertainment
You need
district.
structure. What's the word?
Infrastructure.
You need infrastructure if you want people to live there. There's no point building condos if you're going to knock down every single piece of infrastructure. Why would somebody live there?
You sell it to retarees and rich foreign investors or something. And you
no
chase
one
the
would
kids.
live there.
You chase the kids out of the neighborhood. You get rid of those rowdy kids and you upscale. You bring more adult-oriented content.
But who like casinos? Just casinos.
He wants a casino. That's all he wants. He wants a casino. You need condos.
Dream.
Yeah, you can't have kids around with a casino. That's not healthy.
Well, you could.
You could, yeah, and it's probably not going to be healthy, though.
The twists are leaving the school, and Bronson thinks that Faye's going to fail him, and he'll have to repeat the year. And Linda says, oh, really? Ours was a cinch. It was straight out of the book. And Pete says, well, I didn't study, but I think there's more to life than study, and I'd rather be happy and popular than a bookworm like you. Shots fired. Boom, boom, boom.
That's what people who fail exams say.
Yes.
To make themselves feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like bullshit.
I remember... we had a really bad class in grade 9 maths, and we pretty much, everyone in the class failed except for one person because our teacher didn't teach us anything.
Yeah.
And we were all just, pretty much everyone got a D, and we were sitting there, and this one guy comes up to me and he's like, what'd you get, bro?
Was he the guy I think he would have been?
I don't know who you're thinking of.
I don't want to say it because I don't want to say his name, but if I describe him to you, it'll make me sound racist.
No, it wasn't that guy.
Okay, cool.
No. But you are a racist for saying that. And
I can't describe him any more than that because it's very easy.
You bigoted person. No, this guy is just a guy, and he says, oh, what'd you get, bro? And I say, oh, I got a D. I'm really disappointed. And he's like, don't worry, bro. D for delightful. And everyone was like, D for delightful. And so Linda says, I'm not a bookworm, as if this is the most offensive thing that you could ever say to a person. Bookworm's not even that offensive. I was not offended when somebody called me a bookworm when I was 12. Anyway, and she says...
Four Eyes. That made you cry, I don't know.
They called me much worse than that. And
you're immune to those lower level insults then, yes.
And she says, you're not happy or popular. But
Zing.
Pete, yeah.
That is a return shot fired. It goes straight through him, cuts him deep. I tell you
but
what.
He's not paying attention because he's looking at a surfboard in the department store window that they are standing right next to. And he says, if I had a stick like that, I'd win Surf Sunday for sure. Pete, you'd probably win if you had talent, but I don't think you do, mate.
Pete, you're an idiot. This is why you should study. I mean, come on. As someone in marketing and advertising, I'm going to tell you, you're not going to get happiness from that surfboard, right? You've got low self-esteem issues. You're trying to replicate that happiness within the board.
Yep.
Okay? And that's what the advertisement's telling you to do. Why don't you read a book? Why don't you feel better about yourself and actually feel secure? Don't buy that surfboard. It's a waste of money.
Gribble gang, they arrive, and they say, you don't need a board. You need a paddle, because you're up creek without one, loser.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was pretty high tier Gribble insult.
I guess so, yeah. It takes a lot of explaining, though. It's like, you see, he's up a creek, but he's got a paddle, and, you know...
And then Tiger says probably a lower tier Gribble insult, and he says, no board, no wonder you're ignored. Which is true. He lives in a beach town, he doesn't have a board. I'm assuming he could probably have got one quite cheap if apparently everyone surfs, which we find out apparently everyone in this town does, even though I don't think I've ever seen a surfboard on Around the Twist before.
Yeah.
But I imagine that he could probably get one quite cheap. Like somebody old
could have done something like,
board.
Could have been cooler if Gribble had said something, or maybe one of them had said, you'll get bored watching Gribble on the new board or something, I don't know. Playing with the word board twice. Saying you're bored, no board, I'm like, as in like, no, you don't get any money because people are staying in your house? Is that what you mean? Because like, if you're just saying bored twice, it's kind of dumb.
The Gribble gang, they love the board as well. And James Gribble's planning on breaking into his dad's safe in order to get the money to buy it.
Oh, yeah.
Back at the lighthouse, Tony Twist is banging some metal because apparently this is what he does for a job now. He's not some high-tier artist. He just has a hammer and he bangs metal attached to chairs.
Well, you know what they say, right? When you have a hammer...
You bang things?
Everything starts to look like metallic things you can bang.
Do people say that, or is this just what you say?
No, people they say when you have a hammer, everything starts to look like a nail.
Okay.
That's an old saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were just making it up. I went to Goma in this past week.
Oh, did you?
I did.
Okay.
And
what was there? Was it a black canvas?
Never have I been more disappointed in the art community.
Yeah, I know. I've been there too, and it's really shit.
Well, it's not that it was like, oh, this is like, you know, oh, they're being so artsy or whatever, because I have a fine arts degree. I appreciate the arts.
Yeah.
But a lot of the stuff that they have there was super entry level.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, that's not challenging. I like my art to be quite challenging. That I like to think about it and go, oh, this is really interesting. But a lot of the stuff there was really lame and uninteresting.
Yeah.
And I was just really unimpressed. I was like, this is our taxpayer dollars.
I don't mind weird for the sake of being weird. If you can, there's meaning behind it from the artist's intention, or there's the meaning it tries to convey, But I like to have art that looks like it has some skill involved. It doesn't, and it isn't just crap together, like on the fly. Like, oh, I got this government grant. I'm just gonna, oh, look, this trash can. Boom, 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 done.
I like my intellectual art, and I like my intellectual films. I like my Jodorowskis and my Tarkovskis, but
dropping names here.
Yeah, but I'm not super keen on this guy putting together something like, I don't know. It's just some of them I was so disappointed. I was just so disappointed.
Like, it's the worst one I saw was it was just a black canvas. Someone had just painted the entire canvas black, and I was just like, the one that I saw, probably got paid like $20,000 for this.
The one that I saw was these two girls, and there's two pictures side by side. One girl is hugging this other girl, and she's looking in both pictures. It's from the opposite point of view, so you can see that both girls are looking into a mirror, and they're looking at themselves while they're hugging the other person. And I was like, that is super entry level. Like, you could have at least made it interesting by have the girl, like, look into the other girl, and she's like a mirror type thing, and you see yourself in her, and that's where you find your self-satisfaction through the love of the other person.
Even so, maybe it could have been like, they were looking at each other itself in the mirror, but the mirror was reflecting a different image of what they thought. Maybe. And it could have been like, one was like a serene, happy background, the other was just like a desolate, ice, cold environment. One could have been like, I'm very happy, and the other was a mirror, and you saw it was a mirror, but it was black. It was just pure black, and it was like, oh wow, that's shit.
The core concept of the art was something that we've talked about before. Love is selfish.
Yeah.
By everything that you do, you're fulfilling something within yourself, which is a core libertarian value.
This episode is a lot about love being selfish, or a self-sacrifice at the very least.
Okay.
With later on we'll have to describe that.
Yes. And Pete comes in to see Tony, and he says, I want an advanced Christmas present. I want a surfboard. And Tony says, nah, sorry, mate. Can't give you. I've got no money, because being an artist is hard at the moment.
Yep.
Nobody wants to buy my things at Goma. They're too interested in black canvases. And he says, but conveniently, look over here. I've got this giant longboard that I just found in the shed that I haven't seen in two and a half seasons of Round the Twist. Why don't you just have this, mate?
It's obviously Nell's then, right? Or whoever owned the property first. Because they didn't bring it with them.
The Nell family. The Sands family. What was her other last name? She had another last name. Sands is all do.
I believe her last name...
Sands of Time.
Might have been Beelzebub. Might have been her last name. Yeah, I think that was her last name.
Nell Satan.
Nell Satan, yeah.
Pete goes to the beach to practice. He's going to take this big long board, and we get a bunch of insults, and Regan's written them all down for us, and some of the ones that he found particularly amusing, and two of them were, who's the dweeb with the ironing board? And the Gribbles say, hey, this is a contest for surfboards, not Noah's Ark.
Clever boys. Also, we see Anthony there as well at the beach.
Yes, we do see Anthony as Pete walks in, and there's loads of people here, by the way.
Yeah, there's tons of people.
There is way more people than I've ever seen in Port Neranda before. Just hanging out on the beach. I've never seen this many people at the beach at Port Neranda.
It's a surf lifesaver beach, right?
Because Anthony's a surf lifesaver. I
don't trust him being a surf lifesaver. His character is really nerdy, so I've got this belief that he is not very athletic, just from the way he's written.
Anthony, not the Tales from the Twist co-host, but the character in Around the Twist, is a stereotypical science nerd who is very poorly written. I don't like him at all. Yeah. I just wish
he's now a major
put
character.
Some effort into it. Well, he's a
minor character. It's like he's a character on level of Gribble because he
shows up sometimes.
Part.
Yeah,
it's weird. I don't get why his character came from. It's dumb.
No, and he has science instruments, and he's predicting a bad storm. And Pete's like, "Yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah, no one
I'm going to go surf now." And Pete, do you get that a lot? Is it just an Anthony thing? Do people just say, yeah, okay, whatever to you?
No, people generally listen to me. Because otherwise I yell at them.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I usually yell at them when they don't listen to me.
You get really aggressive and you throw things.
I do, I throw things. Then they land in other paddocks somewhere.
A little bit tangential, but Anthony's a very sore loser.
Yes.
When we were in chess club together in high school, if you'd lose to Anthony, he would throw all the chess pieces on the ground, and the chess teacher would shout at him.
And I just wouldn't care. Like, I'm sorry.
You need to work on that,
I do. I need to. It's like, it's when I channel my father. You should see him when he plays board games. You don't want to play board games.
We're going to play some Axis and Allies. We do that.
Yeah. Or like we play computer games this one time, and he was just like, because it was random-based computer games, and we were winning, and the dice kept making him lose, and he got really mad, and he put the keyboard on the ground, and he just started jumping on the keyboard. It was just like, this, and I can sympathize with that. It's bullshit when a computer game or dice or whatever, it's just like, I'm getting all the rolls. This is bullshit.
This is coming from the guy that when we used to play Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 on a regular basis, and we had tournaments and everything, it was great. It was great. Yeah. Look it up if you can. A great PlayStation 2 game. Anyway, Anthony mastered Kid Buu, who was the smallest, fastest character, and he would basically just get it really close to you and just keep hitting you so much that you couldn't do anything, and that's how he would win games.
Really good at that game.
That's how he would win games.
I was so good that, like, I remember I had to set my life bar down to the lowest. You guys had to set it to the highest. And, like, most of the time you wouldn't be able to touch me, because it's like, as long as you keep the combo moving on Kid Buu.
Yeah, and if you do something like that to him, he's going to throw the controller across the ground. Anyway, Pete sees Fiona, and he says, "Oh, you ready to see some real surfing? The chairman of the board has arrived."
Yeah, it's clever.
And there's people laughing at him with his longboard, and he goes out, and he's trying to catch a wave.
You know, if this was today, people would probably like that board.
Yeah, I was thinking about this while I was watching the episode. A lot of stuff that is not currently cool. If it's older, that's actually cooler.
Yeah, if someone rocked up with a Malibu, I'm sure people would be like, "Oh, that's kind of cool.
That's cool, man.
It's really old. It's like, it's kind of cool." But it's just like, you know, you got that long ironing board. Back in the day, I thought it was kind of uncool, but it's like, I could see that being cool.
The phone I use is one of our friends.
It's never going to be cool.
No, it is cool. It's currently cool. It's his old iPhone 3GS.
It doesn't work for technology, man.
When I pull it out, people are like, "Wow, that's old school, man. That's pretty cool."
No.
Yeah,
I don't believe that.
It happens to me all the time. People even send me secret emails about this.
Maybe if it was like super old, like really crazy old, like a Game Boy
Nokia
or something.
1110.
Or a Nokia 3310, right?
1110 was the best.
Well, it didn't have Snake, and it don't have Snake, and I don't want any...
1110 had Snake.
Did it have Snake?
Yeah.
Alright, so 11 and 10. We're going Nokia, but we're going to go the Nokia 3310. Come on, that's what everyone remembers. It's the shape of...
No, it's the Razor.
It's Maljol, or whatever it is, a fucking Thor of Hammer.
What?
That's what it is. It's like
Mjolnir.
All the memes. Yeah, Mjolnir, right? It's like, it's always got Thor's hammer, like the handle, and then it's got like the 3310 as the hammer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
But for you, no, because apps update all the time. I don't know how you have any memory left on your phone.
I don't have any apps.
How do you not have apps?
Because I don't have it connected to the internet. I can't even get iOS 7.
Oh, wow, jeez.
Yeah. This is my life.
Jesus Christ, buy a phone.
Bronson, Linda, and Fiona watch on, and Pete rides a wave. And people are impressed. But then suddenly a ghost appears from the board, and it says, "Cowabunga, Daddy-O, Moondoggy is back." And apparently this is a ghost from the 60s inhabiting the spirit of the board. And Pete freaks out, and he falls off the board, and people laugh. You think that by now, that Pete would be used to ghosts.
Yeah.
He's seen a lot of them in his day.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Why is he freaking out? He's like, "It's a ghost? What's going on? It's a ghost. I've never dealt with this before."
He should have been like, "Oh no, not another ghost," and just jumped off the board because he's like, I don't want to deal with ghosts. I've had my problem with ghosts. They're annoying. They don't leave you alone.
So what do you do when you find a ghost?
You destroy the surfboard.
No, you go and see Nell.
Of course.
You go and see Nell for some
Nell's position.
Nell's position.
That's absolutely right.
And Nell tells us a little bit about Moondoggy. Regan has written in with some of his feedback, and he says, "We finally get some insight from Nell in an episode. It's the story of Moondoggy." And she explains that after the tidal wave they found was Moondoggy's board stuck into the side of the lighthouse. He says that this pays off towards the end of the episode when Pete flies into the side of the lighthouse. Spoilers, Regan. Watch what you're doing, bro. Mm-hmm. We've probably got some people in here that haven't seen the episode.
Chill out, mate. Chill out.
No, don't worry about it. It's cool. And the Malibu board meets the same fate. Fortunately, as in positive fortunately, not unfortunately, as I almost accidentally said, Pete doesn't meet the same fate as Moondoggy later on. Yes. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Nell also says that he used to send the girls Gaga, and she says, "If I'd been a few years younger," and she trails off. So she was obviously interested in Moondoggy. How old is Nell?
Older than time itself.
Okay, so...
Time immemorial.
Listen, Moondoggy's from the 60s.
Yeah.
He's about in his 30s.
Yeah.
Okay? How old
I'd say he's in his late 20s or something, right?
He looked early 30s.
I'd say early 30s, alright?
Yeah.
So he's in the 60s.
Why don't we say base 30?
That makes Nell...
Well, when this episode aired, it was about 2003, 2004.
So Nell would have been about 50.
They said it was 30 years ago.
I would say 30 years ago, really.
They said it was 30 years ago.
Okay, so it's 30 years ago. I'd have to say Nell's around about 45 years old. For her to go, it's 2-year-old. Because like a 40-year-old could go for a 30-year-old or something, right?
Yeah.
But a 45-year-old's like, it's getting a bit too old.
So she's 45 in the 60s. This is what you're saying?
Yeah. So
then plus 30 years.
So plus 30 years to that.
75.
So she's 75. That makes sense.
She doesn't look that old. She looks early 50s. This is her soul-sucking power.
She's got lots of grey hair.
Don't all 50-year-olds have grey hair? I don't know.
Not all of them do. I work with 50-year-olds. You've said before, you know?
Yep.
They still have their hair, you know? It's like, she looks more like she's in her late 60s.
Sure.
Right in there, alright? Not, you don't have to be any ologist. Legitimately just watch the TV show and tell us, do you reckon she's in her late 60s? Because I think she's in her late 60s.
I was going to say if you're an ageologist.
Ageologist.
Anthony's saying if you're just a normal person and...
You're just a regular dude who's just looking for some
competent
fun. And can judge
life skills.
And go, it looks like my nana, and my nana's 75 or something. That's that'll do.
I have really bad, being able to tell how old people are.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Just as long as you... That's okay. Forward. Backwards, you need to be careful.
What do you mean?
It's okay. You're not single anymore. It's all right.
Okay. Thanks for that brief interjection. No, I just mean, like, I can obviously tell if somebody's younger or older. I just can't pin down a specific age.
It's all right, then.
He was apparently king of the beach, Mr. Moondoggy, and he won every title until the tidal wave hit on the first surf Sunday. How convenient.
Mm-hmm.
How convenient. Of all the time of the year, whenever he could be surfing, anywhere in the world, it had to be Port Noranda, and he had to die on the surf Sunday.
Well,
and Pete just happened to get the board right before the most recent surf Sunday. A lot of convenience in here.
It's time repeating itself.
I just accidentally turned on Anthony's treadmill. How do I turn it off?
It's fine. It's just on.
Is it just going to turn itself off?
It's just, just leave it there. It's fine. Okay. Just don't touch the buttons.
Yeah, okay. Yes, I'll try not to.
Good.
Nell says that the big blue, the big tidal wave that comes, is signalled by thousands of birds, then gale force winds. And that's how we know that the big blue wave is coming. And she says, did he ignore the sirens and try to surf the wave? Was he really that crazy? Was he really trying to hang 10 on the ultimate wave?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, he obviously was.
Yes.
I don't think there's any mystery about that.
It clearly was. I like how basically Pete only cared about that he was getting girls, and then wasn't that was his dangerous thing. It's kind of like fast cars.
Yep.
Fast cars are really, really dangerous sometimes, but it's like, no, I just love them because gets me the hot chicks.
Yeah.
Typical teenage boy attitude.
Yeah. He loves that the girls love Moondoggy, and he's thinking, how can I use this to my advantage to get Fiona?
Yeah, how can I get them ladies to follow me? That's easy. Be really dumb and surf on a tidal wave.
Yep. Yeah. It's outside and Faye's marking her assignments while Bronson's sitting right nearby. She's marking his test and he's sitting right nearby. Is that some sort of unethical thing? Surely she should have just gone into another room or something while Bronson's sitting right there, or maybe because he's 7, she doesn't think it matters.
Because I'm now Bronson's mother, I would have sent Bronson inside.
Yeah.
Just whatever. Like, as a parent, why should you just move your child? They have to listen to you, right? That's the benefit you get when you have
You're going to be
children.
A terrible father.
I'll be a great father.
No, you're going to be a jerk.
Great.
You're going to jump on your keyboard.
All the pranks I'll play. All those pranks.
Tony suggests putting him up a year. He says, I always knew that Bronson would be a genius. However, I've just talked to Snapper, and you failed your Australian studies exam, Pete. And Pete may have to repeat the year.
But it says that Faye got Faye marking the test, and then Bronson got 100%.
Yeah,
and that's a red flag, right? That's a big red flag.
What's a big red flag?
If somebody gets 100% on an exam, you should be looking at their previous academic records, and like if it's a C student who's getting 100%, it's like that's very suspicious. It's not enough to indict it, but it's not a very good teacher if you don't think to yourself, maybe I should have a look at this. Maybe I should have a little check first, because if he's been failing before. And I haven't seen him study. I actually lived with the child, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
I would know. I haven't seen him study at all. I find it very suspicious. He might have been cheating.
I've seen him at Bron, which is, he can't be that smart.
If he had a straight A's, then maybe that's just the luck of the draw.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Tony, he says that Snap's going to give Pete a second chance, on Sunday morning. That's the day of the Surf Sunday big surf competition that's coming up that Pete wants to be in.
Yeah.
And Bronson is terrified that he's going to be moved up, Pete's going to be moved down, and they might end up in the same classroom.
And there's a horror montage or a horror
it has
scene.
A horror nightmare, day nightmare.
Basically, they're sitting at the same desk together.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, me.
Yes,
Pete putting up his hand and everyone's making fun of Bronson.
Classroom full of preps.
Mm-hmm.
and Faye's teaching, and she says, who can tell me the square root of 81? And Pete says, me, and the prep's all laughing at him, and they're throwing paper, and he's sharing a desk with Bronson, and he knocks him off, trying to say me all the time.
Yes.
We've got some feedback from Liam Spencer, and he says, the square root of 81 is 9. Square root of 9 is 3.
Oh.
Illuminati confirmed.
Oh, yes.
Thanks, Liam.
And then he has some other commentary, which is like, what's the square root of 443,556?
Yes, he says that will be her next question.
And is that... I don't know what that is.
I don't get your reference there, Liam.
I don't get it.
Not smart enough for that,
I don't do maths. I don't understand numbers. That don't make sense. I bet you it's really funny. What is it, like 42 or something? It's like 42,
no, I think it's the square root of that is 81.
Is it?
Well, I don't know. I assume.
We got a calculator.
No, we're not going to do live maths on the podcast. That's an all new load.
You tell them. You tell them.
That's an all new load. So let me just commentate this. Anthony's opened his phone. He's scrolling through his apps. He's got to find the right one. He's found calculator. It's loading. It's all loaded.
This one doesn't.
Let me read it out to you. 443.
How do you divide?
You just press the numbers in and then you press divide.
443.
Yeah.
556.
Oh no, wait, you have to do square root of that.
Well, how do I square root on a calculator?
Oh, maybe you can't do square root. No, just do 81 times itself. So 81 times 81.
Alright.
So it's 81 squared.
No. Try that again. Nope.
No. So obviously, Anthony got a couple of answers that were not the number that we were looking for. So we don't know what Liam was joking at here. Swoosh! That's the joke going way over my head. I think this is going to be another one of those situations where people write in and say, you guys are idiots. How could you have missed this opportunity? Anyway.
We don't know the rules. Let us know.
It's back to real life. And Bronson, he's sitting there. He's snapped out of his dream. He says, what are you waiting for? Get upstairs and study. It's upstairs. Pete's studying. Moondoggy appears. And Moondoggy says that he's been inside the board for 30 years, since Big Blue. And the cyclone, it's powered a big super wave. It comes every few decades, and he wants to surf with Pete. He goes, I've been stuck in this board. I need to surf, man. I need to surf. But Pete has to study. The Moondog very easily convinces him to give up his study to go win some comps and some chicks. Pete's not very good at surfing, so he says, can you teach me? Because I'm not great. And Moondoggy says, can catfish suck silt? Which Regan has written in to tell us that catfish suck silt. Could this be an Australian colloquial or 60s colloquial, or may just one that rise to it? So is it supposed to be something like, is the Pope Catholic, or does a bear poo in the woods?
I think it's just something they made up. Because like it could have been something other stuff.
After all that, that's all you give me.
Yeah,
I read out this all this good work that Regan's done, and that's all you give me.
Well, why would a surfer know anything about catfish? He's
Moving
not a fisherman, you know? It would be something like, do surfboards navigate naturally to the left on a wake? There's a wake thing with surfing, right?
I've got no idea.
I don't know.
Regan also says, we see an assortment of music posters on Pete's bedroom wall of the Offspring and Custard. I'm not familiar with Custard.
Custard's an indie Australian rock band. I looked that up.
And perhaps some others that we recognise. We looked at this very carefully, and I saw a poster of what looks like Ozzy Osbourne.
And I saw
we couldn't be clear because of the resolution.
One that sort of looked like the Gorillaz if you didn't have the black guy, but he was white, because it would fit then. But I was just like, but no, that big, because you know that big black guy in the Gorillaz, he's big, he's fat, I don't know, he's tall. He kind of looks like that if the guy was white. So that kind of bothered me. I was like, God, if that guy was black, I would have had that. I would have had that a poster, but I didn't. So I don't know what that one is. The one you're talking about, I think it's just a time traveling goat. Whatever his name is. Whatever the fuck. That guy, you didn't have to cut me off, man.
The time-travelling goat cheese?
Yeah, goat cheese, man. That guy, goat cheese.
What do you... Okay.
You know, goats, gotchi, what? Gotye?
Gautier?
Yeah, him.
Oh, you think it was Gautier?
Time travel, Gautier. He went back in time, I don't know, and he had his, he did his video, and then oh, that's cool, let's make it like that.
We didn't have to cut me off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do my podcast.
Yeah, I'm trying to do my podcast. How could you stoop so low? So Pete goes out and he's going to do some surfing with Moondoggy under the deal that if Moondoggy ever has the wave crave, Pete has to agree to take him out to surf it.
Mm-hmm.
And Pete agrees. Another instance of Pete agreeing to something he doesn't understand the ramifications of. Like the dryad thing where he got impregnated.
It's like,
do you remember that?
Yeah, it's like, hey, if I ever feel the need to do, I don't know, heroin...
You'll inject it into your skin for me?
You will do it for me, and you'll also do it with me.
Yeah, sure, that's a good idea.
Sure. I've never done it before, but why not? It's fun. Yeah, no worries.
Moondoggy's teaching Pete surfing with some hippie music, and he's got 3 key points. Perception, attitude, and balance. Oh, so I guess, this is a yoga joke?
Well, a Buddhist meditation, and it's like it's a reference to like Karate Kid and stuff.
Okay.
Kind of.
Sort of.
Like that.
Loosely.
He's a bit of a Mr. Miyagi, but as a surfer.
Yes.
So he's got this wise sage advice that's not really that good.
Gribble's breaking into the safe, and there's no money in there. He's breaking into his dad's safe. It's just the Viking Book of Love. And Tiger says, why does your dad need magic love poems? Your mum already loves him. And Grib says, listen, this book, it's probably worth a bit of money. Rabbit, you take this to Nell. Don't let her read it to you. Sell it to her. She likes some old crap. See if she'll give you some money for it. And he says, I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to let her read it to me.
So that was a gross question, really, about Gribble's senior sex life, when you think about it.
Do you think he needs that love book?
Yes.
What
clearly
for?
Do. Well, for intercourse, I imagine. Also, I want to point out how clever Matron is, or Gribble. She's like either of those two are the smartest persons, because they actually, and I think it was Matron, because when she held onto it pretty tight, she actually put it in a safe. I mean, sure, it got cracked, but that's pretty decent defense, Yeah,
what kind of combination have they got on this safe if some teenagers can just get in?
What's James? It would probably be James.
His birthday.
It would be that in numerical code.
It'd probably be the numerical code of Gribble's ideal location of coordinates for his casino.
Yeah, that sounds about right, yeah.
The lighthouse's coordinates.
That makes it. Yeah, that's what that is.
We see Moondoggy, and he's sitting on a rock pool with Pete, and Pete is learning perception. And he's got to watch every ripple. He's got to learn the natural ecosystem or the personal ecosystem, whatever they were talking about there. Becomes important later, so I probably shouldn't have flubbed that. And Nell and Rabbit, they're together. They're hanging out. Yep. Nell wants to have a look at the book because Rabbit's trying to sell it to her. And Rabbit says, no, you're not allowed to read it to me. I'm going to read it to you. And he reads a couple lines of the love poem, and Nell falls in love with him.
This is weird. This is so weird throughout the entire episode.
Takes the book from him, and Rabbit runs away. So, this is not the first time that Round the Twist has veered into uncomfortable territory.
Yeah, it was...
And certainly probably won't be the last. But, having an older woman fall in love with a young boy is probably not the greatest thing to be putting on children's television.
I mean, it would have been worse, probably. I mean...
In 2003.
Yeah, probably... Well, yeah,
that was Michael Jackson time, right?
It was in the midst of the Catholic Church sex scandals, right?
Yeah.
Or just before it? I can't remember exactly. But it would have probably been way worse if it was... if the genders were swapped.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. They probably only got away with it because it's an old lady.
Yeah.
Even though there's a lot of stuff coming out now of old ladies doing horrible things to young boys.
It's so weird watching this. You're just like, wow, okay.
It makes you very uncomfortable, and let's not dwell on it too much. Let's just move in. And Moondoggy's now teaching Pete attitude by staring at a crab. And then he's teaching him balance by balancing a longboard on his head. And he says, when you get to the water by walking that longboard on your head, we can do some surfing. And Pete drops the board on his toes. He's not mastered the techniques yet, so he walks home. Later, Pete's asleep, and Bronson's staying up all night. He's got this idea he's going to read this textbook to Pete while he sleeps. He gets about halfway through his textbook, it's about 3:20, and he puts it down, and he starts reading this comic book that he found next to Pete's bed, Master Protector, and he starts reading that to him.
Yes.
Do-do-do-do-do. It's morning at the lighthouse.
Yes.
What?
I don't know, you're waiting on something.
What do you mean?
I don't know, you waited, you paused.
I was preparing myself to make a noise.
Okay, fair enough.
And the family are eating breakfast, and Pete comes outside with his board. And they say, you want some breakfast, Pete? And he says, the Master Protector wants only justice. And Tony says, well, I hope you study for your exam today, because, I'm not paying school fees for you to go dilly-dallying about with that surfboard, mate. I'll give you a clip behind the ears.
To which I would point out, Dad, you don't pay school fees at all. I go to a public school.
They still have school fees.
Do they really?
Yeah, just a little bit. It's not much. It's like $100 or something.
Oh, shit.
It covers certain stuff. Anyway, Tony says, yeah, I hope you do this, blah, blah, blah. And Pete just keeps quoting the Master Protector.
Yes.
And Linda and Bronson laugh.
What do you think the Master Protector is? Do you reckon it's like the Phantom?
It's a comic book.
The Phantom?
It can be anything.
I reckon it's the Phantom.
It could be Batman.
The Phantom Batman?
The Phantom Batman.
Yes.
Liam's written in, and he says, if Bronson had continued reading to Pete from the Australian history book, would Pete have acted like if he was Edwin Barton, Banjo Patterson, or Cannon Man?
Cannon Man is referring back to a previous episode of the guy on the $100 bill.
Yes, a previous episode of Tales from the Twists.
Yes.
Not Around the Twist. It's very flattering when people reference dumb conversations we've had back at us.
I'm pretty sure it's Sir John Monash. Hang on, there's your little things in the way, but let me just move that for a second.
Yes.
Okay,
so he is moving my hard drive to access a drawer.
A drawer full of money.
Desk, in which he has a $100 bill stashed in, and he's turning it around.
And he lives at this address. Please rob
please
him. Thank
come
you.
and rob him. There's a man with a cannon on the back of this $100
I'm pretty sure that's John Monash. That's the signature.
It says John Monash.
There you go. It's so John Monash. Cannon Man. And then there's this lady who is...
Who's that lady?
12? The signature says 12, right?
No, it says Tavalia.
It's Tavalia.
Yes.
Oh, she's an opera singer.
Yes.
Oh, okay, Tavalia.
Well,
there you go.
I'm pretty sure that's not her name, but let's just flow with that.
Yeah, Tavalia's on the $100 bill.
Yes. The bill's back in the desk. Let's continue with Around the Twist.
Locked up safe.
Locked up as safe as a safe in Gribble's house.
Except the password's actually better.
Yes. Linda and Bronson laughing at Pete. Pete goes surfing, and Moondoggy's watching him. Pete's doing pretty good. He's riding some waves.
Yeah.
He's getting some good, what do you call it? Airtime? What do you call that?
Hang time?
I don't know. Surf's
up, bro.
Wave time.
Wave time, I guess. Yeah, I guess we'll call it wave time.
Big Gribble's hosting a beach party for Surf Sunday Eve, and it's sponsored by Grib.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a band here, and Gribble's holding a pineapple, and he's got a hat on. It's like a
very festive,
party hat.
Yeah.
Not a party hat as in party hat, but a hat as in Hawaiian-themed party hat.
A luau.
A luau hat.
Yeah,
Isn't a luau a feast?
I don't know. It's like it's on the beach. If you have like a party on the beach, you call it a luau. I don't know if that's a thing.
It's like a pig spit feast thing.
They probably would have had that in the evening.
Yeah. Nell arrives and starts chasing Rabbit away with her love. And then Pete rocks up and he says, "Hey, cats and mice, let's party." And Fiona's very impressed because he's displaying some very masculine attributes.
Yeah, and his training has clearly worked, right?
What training? The Moondoggy training?
Yeah, how to pick up chicks. Because the chicks are very impressed by it.
Pete takes over the guitar and he starts playing some surf rock and everybody loves it. And Bronson arrives and he says, "What has this got to do with Australian studies?"
And he's making a commentary on Australian university culture.
Is he?
Alright, so, yeah.
They're just too busy partying.
It's like, well, if you ever... or just didn't you go to uni and it's like, wow, there's a lot of crap here that isn't studied.
Yeah.
What has this got to do with studying? What's with this protest? It's Protest Wednesday.
Yeah.
What are we protesting today? Oh, there's this thing happening in America. We're going to protest it. Oh, they're going to see it in America, aren't they?
There's this young girl who broke her leg and she has to wear crutches. Her guinea pig died, so we're protesting guinea pig rights in Australia for disabled people.
Okay.
That's the kind of level of stuff that they protest at uni.
It is. It's like the socialists just need to protest one thing, and it's not. I'm not bashing on the left. It's like just.
Yes.
I am bashing on them, but I'm just bashing on socialists. Like anyone's been in a union will agree with me. It's like, yeah, they will protest anything. There. They do. They will protest anything. Hell, imagine if they got enough support, they'd protest socialism. Just be like, you know what, it's too mainstream. Let's just protest socialism. It's not cool anymore.
Pete sees Moondoggy signal him, and he goes to meet him, but he's interrupted by Anthony. Look at Anthony just spoiling all the fun.
Look at Anthony. He interrupts people all the time, doesn't he?
Yeah, stop it.
Yeah.
And there's a big storm that's going to hit at 10 a.m. tomorrow during the competition, and Pete's like, yeah, this is not relevant to me at all. There's nothing that I could be doing that could possibly be impacted by this information. I'm just going to go and talk to Moondoggy. And Moondoggy wants Pete to surf Big Blue. It's going to be his redemption, his ghost redemption. If he can surf this wave, then he can finally leave his ghostly form and go to whatever afterlife is in the Around the Twist. I still don't understand. And Regan has written in, this is a really good point, by the way, and Regan's written in, and he says, this isn't the first time a ghost Around the Twist has had to repeat an event and succeed the second time with the assistance from the living in order for their soul to be freed. In Season 2, Episode 13, Seeing the Light, which is one of our most popular episodes, by the way, the passengers of the SS Noranda needed to have the lighthouse in operation exactly 100 years later in order to move on to the afterlife. Yeah. This is a good point. Do you think...
Yes.
You're just agreeing?
I wonder what the question will be. The question might be, okay, ask me the question.
Do you think that Nutella is more tasty than Vegemite?
Yes. Of course it is. It's chocolate. Chocolate wins. It always wins.
What I was going to say was, do you think this is the main way to achieve a redemption in the Round the Twist canon.
It must be. It's been proven.
In other ways, they've had to retrieve objects, have stuff. A lot of this stuff actually has happened with assistance from the living. Like, you know, the painting in episode 1, Skeleton on the Dunny, he needed that to be passed on or something. Old man needed his chompers.
What I don't understand is what's coming up next with Tony Twist. Do you want to explain what happens? Because then I can go into it.
Yes, I will explain that. Thank you for prompting me onwards. Pete's waxing his surfboard, and Tony comes in, and he's not pleased because his exam's in the morning, and he's like, listen, mate, you need to do some study if you're going to pass this exam. And he says, Dad, I've got something to do that's more important than the exam. I've got to surf. And Tony's not impressed. And he says, you're throwing your life away for a surf contest.
Yes. Now, here's the thing.
Okay.
It's a very good point. I really enjoyed it because it's like, yeah, that happens. That totally happens, right, with kids. But they've had experiences with ghosts before.
Yeah.
Tony would understand that he needs to help a ghost achieve to the afterlife. This happened in Seeing the Light. So Tony would understand, oh, it's another situation like that, is it? Okay. Snapper, if you recall from the ending of season 1, was also around and knows that ghosts exist. He knows that ghosts exist. They inhabit things, not to destroy the lighthouse. So Tony should be able to go up to Snapper and say, Snapper, my son cannot sit the exam tomorrow. Why can't he sit the exam? Because there is a ghost that has haunted the surfboard that he's surfing, and just sat him down and explained the entire story with Nell there as support. And then Snapper would have said, well, okay, well, I guess so, that's fine. It wouldn't have been like, this is a bullshit excuse. They both know ghosts exist, and this is how you achieve the afterlife. If we can get rid of ghosts, that's probably a good thing as well, because they're really annoying. But no, it's, again, they don't really talk to adults about their problems. They just sort of like say, oh, I've got to do surfing instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I want to throw in here as well, sometimes stuff is more important than school.
Yeah.
But, you know, a lot of times school is going to be useful by the same time. A lot of stuff that you want to do after school, you're going to need to have done school. So if you go off and pursue your alternative career, if something happens and you need to go and do some university course, you're going to need your high school.
Yeah.
And so it's harder to then go back and do high school as an adult than it is to just do it when you're a child. So unless you've got something really going on, try and do school at the same time.
That's true. Good point.
But the other thing is, I think it would actually be wiser for Tony to just say, make your own decisions. You know, make this decision, it's probably going to turn out for you in the long run. If you skip this exam, whatever, you're going to learn from that more than me telling you not to make that decision.
Yeah.
You learn more from your own mistakes than you do of the mistakes of others.
Sure. But the guy is also like 13 or something.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not like he's a 17-year-old where it's like, okay, now you can start making decisions. Like, you're 13, it's like, 13-year-olds do not have, like, their what is it? Yes. Their brain has not fully developed, and they actually will not make decisions properly. Like, their decisions will be like, I want to do what's popular instead of what's good for me in the future.
I also don't think that failing one exam is throwing your life away for a surf contest.
Sure, it's not, but it's like might be a pattern that starts. It's like,
okay,
you repeat, and now you're going to have to do great again. You're going to fail. Hell, maybe you might end up living in the shadow of Linda.
Yeah.
Which will probably happen. You'll always be compared to Linda every year.
Yeah.
And instead of this year where it's like, oh, I'm not as good as Linda, that's okay, because I've already finished this year.
Moondoggy's watching. He's watched this whole back and forth, and then he talks to Pete when Tony leaves. He says, he lies to him, and he says, that big blue, it's not coming. Pete, just do your exam, mate. And Pete says, oh, okay, I better go and study then. He asks for Linda's help to study, and he studies all night. It's morning. Moondoggy wishes him good luck, and Pete goes to his exam. The surf contest is starting, and Nell's cheering for Rabbit, because she's in love with him. Linda sees the Viking Book of Love in Nell's bag, as Regan also mentioned, and he said that it's finally gone full circle, and it's back in the position of Linda.
Mm-hmm.
The possession. Sorry. So she's the person who had it originally, now she's got it back again.
Mm-hmm.
We must be closing out the season.
Oh, yes.
Must be getting close.
What's going to happen next?
And Pete, he sees birds out the window while he's doing his exam. He knows that Moondoggy lied to him.
Yeah.
So he rushes through his exam, and he finishes an hour early. He gives Snapper his test, and Snapper's just feasting. He's just having like this, I don't know, 19th century feast on his desk. And he's like, oh, this is your last chance, Twist. You won't get another chance from me. And the contest is being cancelled while a storm rolls in. Gribble, the mum and dad, they're shouting for James to come to the shore. And Pete arrives and he heads straight into the surf as everyone's exiting.
Mm-hmm.
Back at the lighthouse, Tony's gathering his family inside, and they think that Pete's safe because they think he's at school. Snapper's going to look after him, surely. They didn't think to ring the school and see, Snapper, can you look after Pete?
It's totally true. I don't understand this. The moral of the story is that, tell your parents something, or otherwise kids will die.
Okay.
Or it's like, this is how kids end up dead, right? Not telling their parents where they go.
Yeah.
And then they end up, like, trapped somewhere because they didn't bother telling somebody where they are. It's 127 hours, the movie, except with kids and a surf tidal wave.
It comes back to something we've long known about around the twist. If you told a responsible adult what was happening,
and you sat them
wouldn't be in this
down
problem.
and explained them what's happening. Not just said, I got to surf. It's like, I got to surf to release the soul of a ghost. Oh, well, I've already seen one of those. It perfectly makes sense. No worries.
But I think they would probably not let Pete surf in the middle of the tidal wave, though.
No, I don't think so either. But, there's at least that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moondoggy and Pete are getting ready to surf Big Blue, and Linda and Bronson watch with binoculars as Pete and Moondoggy are about to surf Big Blue. And they're surfing it, and Moondoggy hangs 10. He puts his 10 toes on the edge of the surfboard. Look out. Whoa, he's hanging 10.
See, I didn't know that's where the hanging 10 came from.
It is indeed.
And that's what Regan pointed out as well. Is like, he didn't know that hang 10 came from a surf move.
No.
And I didn't know it was that you put your feet out at the end of the board.
Yep.
There you go.
Moondoggy ascends, but Pete's still on the wave. What an arsehole. He's going to leave somebody else to die.
Yeah.
Great ascension, mate. Pete crashes his board, and he flies, propelled through the wave, and crashes into the lighthouse. And the surfboard gets stuck in the lighthouse, just like it was before, like Regan mentioned. And Pete hits his head, and he then falls down into the garden.
Yep. Suffering a massive concussion, starts bleeding out. The family rushes out of the lighthouse. They try to revive him, but he starts spasming because he's got a lot of internal brain damage. And, his body just goes into convulsions. And, of course, Faye, she's a firefighter. She knows all about this stuff because she's got a bit of first stage. She goes, oh no, he's in the third stages of shock or something. Paramedics rock up. They try to use the defibrillators on him, but it's not working. And, a doctor just declares him dead.
Very dramatic. Later, the Twists are recovering from the storm and Snapper arrives, and apparently Pete's passed. He's also very impressed by Pete's interpretation of personal ecosystems, which he learnt from Moondoggy.
Mm-hmm.
Faye's bragging about Bronson's 100% on his exam, and Bronson confesses. Turns out he guessed the last 15 questions. But he's still going up a year, is he?
Is he?
And Faye says no. Pete cheers, and he says the last thing I want is to share a desk with my little brother. Freeze frame 80s.
Because that's what Bronson's nightmare was as well. Which would be terrible, actually, because could you imagine? They'd all have to share a desk.
Yeah. Well,
right?
I don't think that they would.
Well, why wouldn't you? You'd stick all the Twist kids together. They're all in the same class.
You could just put them on separate desks. It's fine. There's enough desks. Just because you're in the family doesn't mean you share a desk.
Yeah, you make them share, a desk with, 2 seats or something, because it's
let them be their own people.
No, that's what happens, man. That's what happens. It's like, oh, they're in the same class, so let's stick them together.
Alright. Okay,
sure.
Fine.
Yeah.
Why not?
No.
I don't care.
Okay, good.
That is the end of the episode. We'll just get the last bits of feedback from Regan and Liam, who have also sent in their ratings for this episode. Regan says, decent storyline, enough content to keep you engaged. I felt the story also contained an important lesson about compromising between study and socializing, which assisted with the overall rating of this episode. Okay? And he says, 8 out of 10 spaghetti bowls with a couple of Malibu rum and cokes.
Yeah.
Well played.
Well played.
Liam says, overall, I interpreted the theme of the episode as, if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. A Back to the Future reference.
Yes.
Okay? Yeah. And Pete started as a rubbish surfer and flunked the exam. He tried his hardest at learning to surf, but before ending the episode, he ended up as a pretty good surfer and he did well in the exam. Another theme he interpreted was don't study for exams, just learn about the topic via surfing. Have somebody read it to you while you sleep, or just guess every answer. He thinks this is great advice, which is also pretty relevant because, just remembering, Liam wrote this stuff while he was procrastinating for his exam. So, it is proven 100% that if you write pontifications for us, you will pass your university assessment.
That is absolutely the truth.
Tales from Twists does not take responsibility for any and all assignments or exams failed at university or high school.
Results may vary.
He's given it 6 bowls of spaghetti out of 10 with a big kahuna burger on the side. Pretty decent episode. Also, Tarantino reference there.
Very nice.
Nice one, Liam Spencer. Thanks for your first pontifications, mate. And if
Yes.
you want to also
We haven't given it our
contribute,
rating.
you can do that as well. Our rating, how would you rate it? If you want to do pontifications just like Regan and Liam, you can do that too on the Chicken Twisties Facebook page, which we will mention when we tell you about how else to contact us on social medias. How would you rate this episode?
I rated it 6 out of 10 bowls of spaghetti with some calamari rings on the side. And I guess we're all interpreting
topical
themes of an episode here. I guess the theme might be self-sacrifice will result in good karma.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will rate this episode 6 out of 10 bowls of banged together art pieces that are representing spaghetti.
Ah, yes, of course.
Yeah. It's not actual spaghetti. It's like artistic, idealistic spaghetti.
It's like electrical wires or something. It's all mixed together.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it's the internet. That's what it's supposed to be.
The internet's a big bowl of spaghetti.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you wanted to mention from this episode?
There was something, very quickly. Was that, I like Mad Dog. Yeah, I really like Mad Dog, how it showed a lot of...
Moondoggy?
Moondog, yeah, I wrote it down as Mad Dog, sorry. I like Moondog because it was a good character. Like, when he found out that Pete was going to fail at his exam, he lied, and, he basically put the interests of Pete ahead of himself. And that shows a little bit of depth of character in his friendship with him.
But then, when they're actually surfing the wave, he ascends while Pete's still on the wave, and he might die. That's a douche move.
That is kind of a douche move. Maybe he doesn't have control over when you ascend.
That's true.
I mean, that could just be it. Yeah, but I kind of like that. So that's what I liked. I liked Moondog because he was a nice guy.
Cool.
I guess.
If you want to find out more about Tales from the Twist, the podcast to which you are listening, you can contact us on many, or some, or maybe even one, of the following social media outlets.
You can like us on Facebook, on Tales from the Twist, on YouTube, subscribe, Tales from the Twist, Twitter, TFT Twists.
Yep.
You can also subscribe to us on iTunes, that'd be great, and leave us a rating. Tales from the Twist. On Facebook, don't forget to join Chicken Twisties if you really like the show. We can have nice discussions about the show and about Around the Twist and other nostalgic shows in general. It's also where you do the pontifications or philosophies. And lastly, of course, don't forget to visit our website at talesfromtwist.wordpress.com.
Cool.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you one more question before we finish up. What did you have for lunch today?
I had some sort of pizza roll.
Cool.
What did you have?
We used to do this all the time, and I kind of miss talking about lunch.
I like lunch. Where did you get yours? I got it from a local bakery.
You got yours from a local bakery? Coincidentally, I also got my lunch from a local bakery.
Of course, support your local bakeries.
I got mushroom and meat pie.
Oh, yes.
It was pretty good from the closest bakery to my house, so it is my local bakery. And I also got a hedgehog slice because I felt like I needed a bit more sugar to get me through the day, even though I'm trying to eat as little sugar as possible at the moment.
That's good, man. That's good. I love it.
Yeah. Support your local bakeries. It's good for the economy, it's good for you, and it's good for me.
And you get more food out of them. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is everything that we have time for today.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening. My name's been Joseph Lewis.
And I'm Anthony Bull.
Have a great week. Next week is back to Captain Planet, then Around the Twist. A week after that, because we alternate weeks.
Of course, that's the thing.
Have an excellent week. Stay twisty.